one of our experienced gastroenterology consultants, who has very kindly agreed to deliver today's session. Dr. Tarkan will be giving a comprehensive and practical talk on the portfolio pathway in gastroenterology, an area that generates a lot of interest and understandably a lot of questions come across as well. So from the registration forms I have received, I've been really encouraged that there are a lot of international and diverse audience we have. So we have attendees joining from the UK, Egypt, Kuwait, surprisingly Mexico, and other countries. I can also see that you are at very different stages in your careers. We have consultants, registrars, fellows, and some people still in Egypt just exploring the option. I can see as well from the registration that some of you have already submitted the evidence, some others are collecting or preparing for submission, and some others, as said, are just starting to explore the option. Our hope is that today's session will help clarify the pathway, answer common uncertainties, and give you clear and more practical guidance on how to approach it. Just few housekeeping points before we start. All participants will be muted during the talk. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat box. I will be keeping an eye on it and noting them down. Many questions will hopefully be answered during the presentation, but we will still have a dedicated time for discussion and questions and answers at the end. And finally, please note that the session will be recorded. We really hope you find today's webinar useful, informative, and enjoyable. So without further ado, over to you, Dr. Tarkan.
Greetings, everyone. Thanks, Iman, for this lovely introduction. My name is Mohammed Tarkan. I'm gastro consultant, and I hope this webinar about portfolio pathway in gastroenterology will be of benefit for all colleagues. So I would like also to thank the British Egyptian Medical Association, BEMA, for their support and throughout to build up Gastro BEMA entity. Finally, I'd like also to thank my colleagues from BEMA Gastro for their efforts and time to facilitate everything to have this event. So please be noted, this webinar will be recorded. We'll keep everyone muted till questions stage, and please we'll keep questions at the end of the presentation, and please write any questions in the chat and the team will organize it at the end. So about portfolio pathway, to be honest, it's not an easy pathway, not one-shot journey. It's tough, multi-steps, long and time-consuming, but again, it's doable, and you will be proud about that when you reach your goal. This journey will give you a lot of insights about gastro job and training that you might miss during daily routine work. So try to enjoy this journey. I will try through this to hit some practical tips, not to dig more on why CESR, not training, and the opposite. So we can discuss this at the end of the webinar. I'll start by some quick tips that will help during this journey. Number one is to stay focused. Every day in your routine work, utilize it to collect an evidence needed. Be focused at what you need and how to benefit from every single activity, discussion, meetings, to turn it to a good evidence for your application. Number two, try to find a mentor. It will not be easy if you don't follow or guided by someone who went through the same pathway. Guidance with experienced steps are very important. If you cannot find this in your workplace, ask for colleagues outside your workplace. As BEMA Gastro colleagues will be happy to advise and support all through. Number three, build good relationships with work colleagues. So good relations with the work colleagues, this will give you the help and support you will need. All colleagues, consultant, middle grades, foundation years, nurses, care practitioners, trainees, admins, secretaries, different subspecialties. So you need to build this good relationship with all your work colleagues. Number 4, this journey is not only about the rules, it's mainly about following the rules. If GMC asks you to do something in order 1, 2, 3, don't do this like 3, 2, 1. So try not to be funny, please. Number 5, which is one of the most important things, is to take your time to write a professional, comprehensive CV. Every single minute you will spend in this will save a lot of time in the future. And while completing the rest of your application, it will save a lot of time for you. Put everything relevant, keep editing. CV will be the first thing that the assessor will review, and it will be the first impression about you. So, what's next? It's time to prepare your tools to start your application. Step 1, to open the application. You will not start any work without opening the application. Open the application from GMC website. This will be your first step in real work. It can be valid for 2 years, I think. No one can see anything uploaded till you submit your application at the end. Start then to fill the items. Start then to fill the items before your evidence summary. You can see this on the right side of the screen. So you have the specialty details, your qualification details, your professional experience, referee details, and the registration and licensing. All of this can be filled before going for evidence summary. Step 2, download the specialty specific guidance from GMC website. Read it carefully and make your own notes. First reading, this will give you a broad idea about what you need. Keep a copy on your desktop or hard copy as a reference for you, and use it throughout while collecting or uploading your evidence to follow the rules and dig more into details. Step 3, start to make your desktop folder with dividing into subfolders according to the guidance and online application as it is in the screen. So this will help you to, once you have any new evidence, you will put it in a correct folder under correct section, and which consequently will make it easy for you when you will upload all your evidence later on. Step 4, make multiple copies each time you save anything. You don't want to repeat everything from the scratch, so because of any technical errors. So keep copy in your desktop at work, personal PC, drive, and USB. Step 5, you should have one of the PDF editors on your personal computer or your work computer. This is very important that you'll need it for redaction, combination of evidence, editing during evidence upload. You can ask your IT in your workplace also to download it on your desktop at work if available, or you can buy a subscription online. Step number 6, create a portfolio account. This will help you to sign your tickets, forms, and collective reports. I did this manually, but I think it will be easier if you manage to have an e-portfolio, and it may not be applicable for all. It may be expensive, especially for consultants. It's more expensive than trainees or transcripts. So, but it will save a lot of time for you. But it's very important to have an e-portfolio account. Okay, finally, before starting into application details, some further technical tips. Anonymization. So this is what we need to be anonymized. This include all patients identifying details, details of the patient's relatives and other members of the public not acting in a professional capacity, details of colleagues that you have assessed or written a reference for, or you who have been involved in a complaint. Another thing is authentication. So what we need to authenticate is anything overseas qualification need to be authenticated, and any translating documents into English need to be authenticated. Number 3 is organizing your evidence before. So this will make it easy for the advisor and consequently for assessors to go through your evidence. For example, separating evidence from outside the UK and evidence from UK under the same section of application. This is very important. So also writing a cover letter with index to the document will make a huge difference and impact how the advisor and assessor can review your evidence. Also, some recommendations from GMC for research paper. You will not you don't have to upload all the research paper. So research paper grants or designs, if this publishes, you need only the first page of the published paper. You need the front page of the publication only. Finally, the verifier form. I would suggest to consider this from the start. You can download this from GMC website. It's importantly to keep it from the start, to fill it. And from day one, once you add any evidence to your profile on your desktop, please add details in this verifier form, because you will need to write the detail of each evidence, the title, the type of the file, number of pages. If you leave this to the end, it will be time consuming. And once you edit the name of the file, you need to change it in the verifier form. So keep it updated as far as you can. And you will need separate verification form for each place you worked in. So separate verification form for UK and each country outside the UK you worked in. So verifiers not necessary to be one of your referees. So can be doctors or non-medicals. Managers, for example, can be used as verifiers. Two more tricks about choosing referee who writes structured reports. Structured reports is a confidential report that will be written by your referees. So the new recommendations, we need one should be the clinical director or head of the department you are working now in the hospital you are working now in. One internal medicine consultant who can comment on your competences in internal medicine, and one consultant level from same specialty. The last thing is currency of evidence. 5 years is the golden rule. So your evidence should be within the last 5 years. You need to submit evidence of competences for the recent practice, and most recent evidence will weigh more in the application. You can upload evidence from more than 5 years, but more recent evidence will weigh more in the application, other than less weight in the assessment. Okay. And now, finally, we are ready to play. It's time to go onto the field. So we'll start the journey of evidence summary. So once you open your application, you reach the evidence summary. The question you need to ask yourself from now: how can I prove this section? So this part entitles actually 7. I added another one. So 7 sections mainly: training and qualifications, CV, employment history, generic CIPs, which is competency in practice, clinical CIPs, and specialty specific CIPs, and themed for service specialty specific CIPs. So 7 sections you need to fill to prove uh, your experience. So let's start by the first one, which is qualifications. Qualifications, it's divided into 2 sections. The primary medical qualifications, already you have GMC registrations, so there is no need to upload the primary medical qualification again. The specialist medical qualifications, the ESEGH exam and MRCP. A common question here, other qualifications you can add is your master's degree, your PhD, or other medical qualifications related. Also, you can add with this the training curriculum or examination syllabus also. Formal period assessment completed during training can be added to this section. A question that commonly asked if I don't have the MRSP or the board exam. You need to demonstrate the same level of knowledge by providing a detailed demonstration how each and every competency in this qualification has been covered in your own qualification. Simply, you need to produce a portfolio of your evidence, which I think is not easy. And again, it's a case by case. So no one can guarantee that if you don't have MRSP or the European board exam, you will be able to be successful during this pathway. Now, let's go for aspects of training we need to prove. Training. I would recommend to divide the evidence of training into the following: non-UK based training and UK based training. This will make it easy for the assessor and for advisor to organize your evidence. And also, it needs to be divided into core training, which is internal medicine training, and specialty training, including different aspects of GI training. What evidence of training you can upload is a training curriculum, logbooks. You can upload logbooks or draft of logbooks with the letters of completion of competencies in this logbook to be signed by your supervisor or your clinical director from your workplace or training place. Letters also detailing the training and in your role and completion of this training signed by supervisor or the head of the department, and evidence of periodic assessment during training can be a good evidence in this section. Second section is the CV. And as I said before, it will be the first impression about your portfolio. So give it all and don't hold back. Sorry. This is a suggestion from the GMC for CV points, which I would recommend to adopt, including the personal details, the registration, memberships, qualifications, employment history, and gaps in employment, awards and research experience, publications, presentations, and CBDs, conferences attended, courses, audits, teaching and training experience, management experience, procedures you can do, extra activities. So it need to be detailed CV, organized to be a good impression about your evidence. And don't forget to number each page of your CV and use the bullet points and include a short description for each item. And try to use a fixed chronological order, either from recent to old or the opposite. Next section will be about work experience and employment history. Again, work experience can be divided into non-UK based and UK based. The evidence that you can upload in this section will be employment letters and contracts of employment from different hospitals, unit or department caseload statistics. You can ask the HR in your workplace to advise how to get this, appraisals, rotas, CV, and also job descriptions. About job descriptions, you can draft a letter about what you did during this job, and you can sign this from the clinical director or your supervisor. And don't forget to keep dates matching with your CV. Assessment tools. This is very important. Before going for the next three sections, we need to understand the different assessment tools we will need to get. So, assessment tools mainly can be divided into two main sections: supervised learning activities, SLEs, and workplace-based assessments. Supervised learning supervised learning events can be divided into outpatient care assessment tool, OPCAT, acute care assessment tool, ACAT, and case-based discussion, CBDs, and mini clinical evaluation exercise, mini-CACs. All of these types of evidence or the forms to prove this evidence you can find on the GRCTP and ePortfolio, and it's easy to get it, but you need to be familiar how to use these forms and what is the difference between different forms. So OPCAT is mainly for clinics, ACAT mainly for acute unselected take, and a case-based discussion in many clinical cases can be from wards, can be from clinics, but the difference between case-based discussions and many clinical evaluation, many clinical need, you need to be supervised in some sort of examination. So you need just to choose what's appropriate for this setting to collect the evidence about the patients. And the recent guidance advised that certain number for each type of evidence needed in both GIM and gastro. So for a CAT that you need to collect from wards or acute medical units, you need 3 in gastroenterology minimal and minimal 8 minimum of 6 ACAT forms in GIM. For OPCAT, you need 3 in minimum 3 in gastroenterology and 2 in GIM. And for CBDs and mini cakes, 18 in minimum 18 in gastroenterology and 8 in GIM. Remember that ACATs, usually this form, you need to put 5 cases minimum in one form, you need to put 5 cases minimally. So you need to just get a summary of 5 cases you have reviewed in acute care settings and to sign this from a consultant. Try to divide the evidence between different subspecialties, either GIM or gastro. For example, in gastro, I divided my evidence into 6 subspecialties: upper GI, lower GI, IBD, liver, HPB, and nutrition. It need to be level 4 entrustment. It means that entrusted to act unsupervised, and all need to be signed by a specialty consultant, either gastro or GIM. Work-based assessments, including DOPS, direct observation of procedure skills, quality improvement projects, patient survey, teaching observation, and multi-source feedback. DOPS that needed in gastroenterology, mainly DOPS for OGD, plus or minus colonoscopy if you are doing colonoscopies. So the DOPS need to be, it will be collected throughout the process of JAC certification, which is needed. You need 1 summative DOPS in large volume paracentesis, and you need 2 summative DOPS in GI bleeding, including variceal bleeding, and plus or minus 2 summative jobs for feeding tubes and big insertion. For GIM, you need some summative DOPS about certain procedures, and the other option is this to be mentioned clearly in your structured reports that will be written by GIM consultant, that you are competent in those skills. And again, this is need to be clearly written in your structured reports. If you will not be able to manage to have this summative DOPS for this list of procedures, so this is the other option. They wrote it in the guidance, so you can use this one. So those who are internal medicine procedures will not be available, or they will not be able to do this. They can depend on the structured reports, but I believe this will give less weight in your application. So about quality improvement projects, you need at least one. This can be in the form of service audits or development projects. If audit, you need to complete closed cycle, first cycle audit forms, presentation need to be attached, and presentations and actions, pre-audit and outcomes of improving and reflection on this audit. At least one. Patient survey, at least also one. This should include at least 15 patients. I think the revalidation team can help you with this forms. And the alternative for this evidence also, and I believe you can not only alternative, you can add to this thank you letters from patients, cards from patients, statements from referees, testimonial letters from your colleagues, which I believe is very important and it's easy, and feedback from patients and colleagues. That's why I said initially that building a good relation with your team is very important. Teaching observation, one completed in the last 24 months of clinical practice, or it to be mentioned clearly in the structure report that you have been involved in organizing and actively participating in the teaching. Multi-source feedback, the MSF, minimum of one in the last 12 months of clinical practice before application submitted. Also, MSF should include approximately 12 colleagues, including medical and non-medical sources. Multiple consultant report, 4 MCRs to be completed in the last 12 months of clinical practice. By the way, WTE, it was a new term for me. It's all-time equivalent. It's a tricky word. It means all-time activity equivalent and equals to 40 hours of clinical practice per week. So the period should be equivalent for those who are working part-time. So slightly tricky, and I think if you are working part-time, you need to confirm this with GMC team. Ask them, and they will update you what you can do. Other useful evidence also, reflective diaries, management activities. Reflective diaries, first, you can write some cases that you have seen and situations, actions, reflection, what changes have been done, and templates about reflection can be found on ePortfolio also. Academic activities, journal clubs, research paper, publications, university talks, medical medical school student teaching, referral letters with the different specialties, letters, discussions over emails, any documented notes about discussion with other specialties can be considered. Management activities, leading a meeting, leading an initiative, or leading a team to change something in the hospital. Management tasks assigned for you. So all of this evidence you can use. You can use emails. You can use documentation from the ward. You can use referral letters. All of these things can be used. So let's go for different capabilities needed in practice, which is CIPs that you need to provide an evidence for. Number one is the generic CIPs. So we have 6 generic CIPs, I think. Number one is CIP number one is able to function successfully within NHS organization and management systems, which is equal to engagement. So this can be covered by MCR report. So evidence that you can upload in this section, under this section, MCR reports, and MSF also, MDT meetings, minutes, either you are involved or sharing, governance meeting minutes, quality improvement projects, service initiatives, and management courses. Number two, CIP number two is able to deal with ethical and legal issues related to clinical practice. Evidence also you can upload is this can be improved by MCR report, MSF, best of interest meetings, minutes, letters, or notes, governance meetings, reflective diaries about decision related to MCA, or courses also about legal issues. Some courses, just for guidance, some courses also can be available online about Mental Capacity Act, and a lot of courses have your evidence, which will be useful. CIB3 is a effective communication and able to share decision making while maintaining appropriate situational awareness, professional behavior, and professional judgment. I think also the same MCR, MCF, mini kicks, patient survey, feedback, reflective diaries about difficult communication and communication courses. This can be a good evidence to cover this section. CIB number 4 will be focused on patient safety and deliver effective quality improvement to the patient care. Again, MCR, MCF, mini kicks, quality improvement project, reflective diaries, meeting minutes, and simulation courses also will be a good evidence. CIB number 5 carries out research and manages data appropriately. So the same MCR, MCF. The new thing is a good clinical practice course from NIHR. This can be done online. And research methodology courses, publications, presentation, either lectures or posters, and evidence of research activity within your trust or your work. So this also will be valuable evidence. Number 6, acting as a clinical teacher and clinical supervisor. So this can be proved by MCR and MCF and medical education training courses or the forms for teaching observation and organizing evidence that you have organized an educational event or program with a feedback or participated in this educational activity. Also courses in education and teaching, like teaching the teacher, training the trainer, and all of these courses can be valuable evidence. Supervisor courses also can be a good evidence and evidence of clinical or of being clinical or educational supervisor. So the first section was the um, generic CIBs, which equivalent merely to how you are engaged with NHS system. Now, the second one is the clinical CIBs. It's about core medical evidence, about GIM evidence mainly. Number 1 is managing an acute unselected take. This evidence mainly can be from acute medical units, either wards or same-day emergency care. Management of acute care of patients within the medical specialty service. This can be found in different medical wards, medical outliers, different specialty clinics. Number 3 is providing continuity of care to medical inpatient, including management of comorbidities and cognitive impairment, mainly from wards. Managing patients. Number 4 is managing patient in outpatient clinic. This is mainly from clinics for either ambulatory or community settings, but I do think this is difficult for most of those who are working in gastroenterology or not that much available. Number 5 is managing medical problems in patients in other specialties and special cases. This can be also from wards or clinics or referrals. Managing a multidisciplinary team, including effective discharge planning. Discharge letters can be used as evidence. Discharge letters with your name, either involved or as a consultant or registrar who finalized the discharge letter. The clear planning for GP, holistic plan for patients with different specialties. And number 7, delivering effective resuscitation, managing the acutely deteriorating patient. This can be from inpatient setting with documents from daily ward round or documentation about what happened in this situation. Number 8 will be managing end of life and applying palliative care skills. This also mainly from inpatient. It seems to be slightly complex, but it seems all these CIBs seems to be slightly complex, but if you are aware of these CIBs during your daily practice, you'll easily to find this in your daily practice, and you just need to put this into the appropriate template. So the clinical CIBs can be covered by the following evidence: MCR and MSF, sorry. So this is one of the type of the evidence. Mainly CBDs, mini cakes, OPCAT, sorry, and ACATs mainly are the main evidence that you can prove your clinical CIBs. Other things that you can add your reflections, simulation courses, discharge summaries, ALS course, which I believe is mandatory. Again, usually remember the minimum number of needed evidence either in gastroenterology and in GIM. Now, a specialty, third is a specialty CIBs, which is gastroenterology evidence. So CIB1 is managing care of gastroenterology and hepatology in patients. This is from gastroenterology ward. Managing number 2 is managing care of gastroenterology and hepatology patients in outpatient environment. This is from gastro outpatient clinics. Number 3 is managing care of patients with complex disease across multiple care settings, including interaction with the primary care and community work. This will include, as I said, communications about complex patients, either through MDT, letters to GB, letters to other specialties, discharge letters with a good plan from the GB, safety netting information during documentation. All of this can be considered in evidence, just you need to organize it. Managing care pathways for patients with a suspected and confirmed gastrointestinal and hepatic malignancy. This can include referrals to MDT, breaking bad news, documentation about inpatient for patients diagnosed with a recent diagnosis of cancer. Number 5 is the ability to practice diagnostic and therapeutic upper GI endoscopy and in other practical skills undertaken or overseen by gastroenterology consultant. This will include DOPS, endoscopy reports, JAG certificate for OGD plus or minus for colonoscopy, which I would recommend to have both if you are not subspecialized in one theme of gastroenterology. And you can also prove this with some courses related to this practical procedure. So the JAG basic skill course is very important. DOPS during JAG certificate for OGD. The same for colonoscopy. This will add more weight to your application. And try to choose some samples from good endoscopy reports that you wrote in a good way. Number 6 is contributing to the prevention of gastrointestinal and liver disease. This will include screening services, alcohol service, IBD, and muscle patients that they need continuous management with the clinic and lifestyle modifications and screening tests just to screen for development of cancer throughout or development of any complication. So specialty CIBs mainly can be covered by MCRs and MCF, CATs, CBDs, mini cakes, OPCATs. Exam can be used as an evidence for specialty CIBs, reflections, feedback, simulation courses, DOPS, very important to upload this here, and discharge summaries and endoscopy reports. Last one is a themed for service specialty specific CIBs. So, which you need an evidence of management of complex luminal gastroenterology cases like advanced polypectomy skills, for example, refer to polyp MDT, churning polyp MDT. This is an example. Or complex hepatology patients like liver transplant cases, complex liver meetings, again, in the same type of evidence. Again, don't forget, usually remember the minimum number of needed evidence in gastroenterology and GIM. Other evidence also you can add to your evidence summary is MDTs in different subspecialties, sign-off letters or forms in hepatology and nutrition, hepatology course, and there is a good course online mainly from Royal Free Hospital and other courses available also. Nutrition course is, I think it's a good thing to cover the nutrition part of your evidence. Mandatory trainings, the annual mandatory trainings can be used as evidence also. Courses related to health and safety, you will find the loads online, especially on this website, ELFH, and leadership courses also may be very important. So when you upload any evidence under one section, you can use it in another section. Just you need to write in the description of the evidence, cross evidence from section number 1 or section under name of. So you can use the evidence multiple times during your evidence summary, but you need to mention where this have been uploaded first time. So cross evidence can be used. Okay, so this is a time to plan. So if you concentrate on gathering evidence from every day you are going to the work, you will do it. Divide the tasks that you can do into daily, weekly, monthly, semi-annually, and annual, and put the right evidence under the correct category or section. So on daily basis or weekly basis, you can upload CBDs, you can gather or have evidence from CBDs, mini kicks, CATs, OPCATs, clinic letters, endoscopy reports, documentation about discussions with the patients or reflections. Monthly, you can do courses like ALS teaching. You can do some teaching. You can do some other courses like basic endoscopy courses, research courses, simulation courses. Semi-annually, you can put in your plan that you will do the exam. You will have enough numbers of MCR, MSF, feedbacks, appraisals, testimonials, JAC certificate in OGD and colonoscopy, and some publications. In 2 years, I believe I can guarantee if you follow this that you can submit the application after 2 years if you start today with this plan. So another thing need to be considered is the advisor. So it's very important to build a good communication channels with your advisor. Listen to their advice, and they are doing their best to organize your application and your evidence for preparation for the Royal College assessment. It's not their responsibility for any delay issues. So don't blame them for this. Usually the timeline, remember this between, so usually from date of submission, you will have 2 to 3 months, then you'll be assigned to advisor, which will be variable, and you have 60 days from the assignment of advisor to do any edits for your evidence based on the advice from the advisor, or you can add any further evidence to your application. And then, and remember also between each edit with the advisor, it will take 15 working days, which means 3 weeks, not 2 weeks, 15 working days. And then once your application and your advisor satisfied with your application and against the checklist, they will send it to the Royal College for assessment. Again, this is variable from Royal College to have a decision So nowadays, what I hear is it's 6 to 8 months for decision from the Royal College to be released. Now it's time for questions. So ask any question you want. And please, during the questions, if you can scan the QR code for your feedback about this session. Thank you. I'll keep the QR code.
Thank you very much, Dr. Talkan, for the clear and thorough presentation. That was really, really brilliant. So I haven't seen any questions so far on the chat box. Only one comment about how helpful your presentation is and hopefully to be recorded, and it is recorded. So you guys can get back to that and visit if needed. So while we are waiting, there is a question that I wanted to ask basically based on my senior colleague's advice. So from what you have said, Dr. Talkan, you need to gather evidence over the last 5 years. And I believe most of us, including me, was under the impression it has to be within the UK, but obviously that's not the case. So the question is, can you bring evidence from outside the UK? And how can you align that with the portfolio pathway requirements and rules?
I do believe that we can add evidence from outside the UK, even if more than 5 years, but it will be less weight. So it depends on your portfolio. So I believe any evidence you have, you can upload. And we have colleagues that have evidence from outside the UK. So we have Dr. Mustafa, if he can share his experience with us.
Oh, hello. Hi, everyone, and thanks, Dr. Talhan. Yes, I agree. Evidence from outside the UK can be helpful. And what I would say is that sometimes when you apply to the GMC, they may say to you it is a bit old, the evidence, especially as you mentioned, if it is more than 3 years. But from my experience and from other colleagues also, you have the right to say that this is part of my training, and I think it will be helpful in my applications, and they will accept it. So I have to say that it's important to highlight its role for you, because you may be aware that the GMC assessors, before it go to the Royal College, will be mainly focusing on the criteria. And I think when you speak to them about this is part of my training, I think it will be helpful for me. They usually accept it. Obviously, if it's more than 3 years or 5 years, I think it is maybe less important in the assessment. But I have to say that it is sometimes showing your training, and some of us has been or have had a training in a tertiary care center. So I would say it's important, if you think it's part of your training, to add it. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mustafa.
So just guys, to let you know, Dr. Mustafa Hashim is a gastroenterology consultant in Norwich, and mashallah, he managed to have his CESR actually approved in a couple of years, as far as I know. So thank you so much for the advice, Dr. Mustafa. That's really appreciated. So we have a question. Do we need to be signed off on colonoscopy in order to be successful? Like, is it mandatory to be signed off colonoscopy for the portfolio pathway in gastroenterology?
It's not mandatory. If, for example, if your practice theme to be hepatology, so it's not mandatory. But if you didn't mention this, or it is not obvious from your application that you are not hepatologist, so I think it will be needed. So if you will not be signed off, so you will not, if you are not signed off, so this means that you will not have JAC certificate, and you'll have no DOPS for colonoscopy. So it's not mandatory as GMC guidance, but it will add more weight to your application, especially if you are not deemed to be hepatologist.
I think that makes sense, basically. So another question, independent endoscopists who have their training already outside the UK, so they are officially independent, but they are not JAG certified, and it can be quite difficult to have this certification. The question is, how can they do it? Do they need to go through the whole process of numbers and then application, or just local sign-off can be enough for the evidence collection?
I do think the JAG has a pathway for certification for those who are in training and those who are not in training. I hear that recently didn't they didn't issue any certificates of JAG certificates for those who are not in training, but you can communicate with the team of JAGs, so they may give you a letter that if you are signed off and in your current place, so you can ask them for evidence that you are JAG certified. And Dr. Nemera can give us a
Yeah,
comment about this.
thank you, Muhammad. Um,
Sorry.
sorry, can you hear me? So,
Yeah.
thank you, Dr. Talkan and Iman, for organizing this fruitful meeting. I hope everyone enjoys it as I did. So the JAG certificate is not mandatory in the CESR or the portfolio pathway, as far as I know. They need to know that you have experience in endoscopy and have some DOPS, I believe. So the JAG certificate itself is not a basic requirement, but you need to show them that you did endoscopy, have DOPS on certain types of techniques. I believe it's more detailed in the portfolio pathway. Correct me if I'm wrong, Muhammad.
I'm having a look now on the guidance again, but I think I read it's mandatory in the new one. But let me check. Zakaria want to
Yeah.
elaborate more in this. If you can allow him, Iman, please.
So Dr. Zakaria is one of our gastroenterology consultant at James Cook. So yeah, over to you, Dr. Zakaria. Please go ahead. I think he is away at the moment. So yeah, we can keep going and hopefully he's going to join us shortly again.
I'm trying to find this in the guidance.
Dr. Mustafa wants to add something.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is a very important question. So I need to remind you about the new position of the GMC regarding the CESR. What has it changed is simply they want to be sure you are fulfilling the criteria to be a consultant. And this means, in my opinion, more flexibility. And based on recent experience also, one of the most common debate is, let me give you an example. If I am doing a GI bleeding rota, for example, and I'm signed off by a consultant, but I didn't do even the mandatory JAG course, do you think I will pass or they will return the application? I think the GMC has answered this clearly that it is no longer refers to what we call equivalence. We require the applicant to have the knowledge and the skills to be a consultant. What does this mean? And this is linked to what Dr. Talhan said regarding your colleagues and the importance of your relationship with them. If your training lead or endoscopy lead send you a recommendation letter saying, I'm saying Dr. X who is doing a GI bleeding rota independently, and he's doing everything, and then you haven't even had the JAG accreditation, and you haven't made the mandatory course, I think it will be accepted. If this example can explain what we wanted to say. They just wanted to be satisfied because there was a debate about this point. Are we going to take the box for everything while we have to follow the guidance? If I have an evidence that this skill has been signed off by his consultant or his supervisor or whoever, it is enough. And if you go to see the changing of position on the GMC website, this can confirm this point. Thank you.
That's
I
correct. Dr.
agree with you,
Zakaria
Dr.
is
Mustafa.
back.
So just here
Dr.
in
Talkan,
the hi.
just a second, Dr. Zakaria is back and he wants to comment as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, sure.
Dr. Zakaria, can you hear us?
He's muted.
He does. Yeah, he is actually muted. So can you please unmute him? Let's try to do that. Yeah, you are.
Zakaria, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can now.
Okay. So I've been for the past 2 months debating with the JAG about this precise point. And the response was they no longer produce certificates for non-trainees. The alternative is as Dr. Mustafa said and Dr. Talhan said, that it will be your CD who gives you a letter of your scope of practice and what you do and what you don't, and this needs to be alongside with the data, your KPIs from the National Endoscopy Database, which you can find it on NED. They can give you like an Excel sheet with all your scopes that you have done for the past for how long you mentioned. So alongside with this letter and this KPIs, you can use this as an alternative for the JAC certificate, because most of us are already qualified endoscopists.
Yeah, you are right. And I reviewed the guidance again. This is more or clearer in this guidance, the new one from GIM. So they mentioned this clearly: certification by an appropriate body or experience equivalent to JAC certificate standards. So yes, JAC certificate can be replaced by, like you said, a report alongside with your logbooks of practice here. But I would also need to suggest that we need the basic OGD course, basic colonoscopy course. This will add more weight to your application.
Yeah, any courses you can use is an addition to your CV, and it will make the decision more easier for the assessor. But as I said, I've attended both endoscopies, basic skills. So yes, this is like a certification to add to your KPIs and the letter from your endoscopy lead with the scope of work you're doing.
Right.
But it was a clear answer from the JAG. They no longer send a certification for non-trainees.
Thank you so
Right.
much, Dr. Zakaria. So moving forward, there is a question about the referees. Can one of them be outside the UK, or all of them has to be in the UK and current, like, over the last 3 years, colleagues?
So, Dr. Ayman, can you advise?
I think you can have some referees from outside UK, but it will be less way, I believe. So if you can bring all the referees from UK, that's better. If you have one of the referees outside, yes, but don't make all of the referees from outside UK, definitely. So because as Dr. Talkan mentioned, you have to include your clinical director, your current clinic CD, and one of your current gastro colleagues. So if you work in the UK, definitely 2 out of 3 have to be in the UK, but you can add more. So if the minimum requirement of 6 referees, you can ask for a 4th or 5th referees. It will not harm, but I believe the minimum is 3 as far as I know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr.
I believe you need to satisfy the minimal needs first. 1 GIM consultant, 1 clinical director, and other specialty colleagues you worked with them here. So especially the name or the title of a specialty is different from, for example, in back home in Egypt, it's different. So if you will ask for a referees from, for example, internal medicine, this will not be under the category of a specialty consultant referee. And tropical medicine will not be, they will not accept this, as we are aware that tropical medicine, they are gastroenterologists and back home in our country. So it's different titles. So try to fulfill the minimum 3 first, and then add a 4th one or 5th one from back home. I did this. I put 6 referees, only one from Egypt.
We have
Yeah,
Dr.
can I
Munir. He wants
sorry,
to give
Dr.
a comment. Sorry, Dr. Namira. Sorry, Dr. Munir just raised his hand to give a comment. Dr. Munir, one of our gastroenterology consultants at James Cook.
And he's our mentor for this journey, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Dr. Munir, can you hear us?
Muted. So just a second. I'll give him a mic. Yeah.
Hi. Just to hit directly to the point, I will start with the last point about if you can get a referee from outside the country or not. It depends on the evidence. For example, if you are supplying 25% of your evidence from Pakistan, then it's quite acceptable to get a referee from Pakistan. If you are providing 0 evidence from Pakistan, it's very nonsense to put a referee from Pakistan, and so on. So it depends on the weight of the evidence you are providing from that country, whether you can get somebody or not. I hope that's clear. If I put 20% of my evidence coming from another country, then it makes sense to have one referee from that country. If I don't, then it makes no sense. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing, as Dr. Talhan said, you fulfill the basic ones first, GIM, your CD, one in the specialty that's gastro, then you can add whatever you like after that. But it relates to what you are submitting as evidence, then we can look at the referee. That's one thing. Just, I don't know if it is the time to comment on some general things or not. That's a great framework that you have been all talking since the beginning. But as always with anything, devil lies in the details. And it is how you do things. The CV, please start doing it as of now, as Dr. Talhan said, because you need to improve it every day. Every small detail should be there, as in every small detail. And I remember that Dr. Talhan said, start from old to new or new to old, but no, the GNC is very specific about you must use their format and start from recent to old, not any other arrangement. That's one thing. Because this is one of the things that will be looked at first. Then if it is impressive enough, everything becomes easier from the assessor side. If it is not, then everything will be scrutinized very heavily. That's one thing. The other thing we talked about, the referrals, the structured reports. Again, not everyone you will ask to fill a structured report is experienced enough or has the heart and mind to fill a good structured report, because that will be the second thing they look at after the CV. So I prefer if you approach someone whom you can sit and fill the structured report with him, or in some occasions, he might tell you you write it and send to me. I will review and approve, which is the best thing. One of the people who worked very well with that CESR said that the one who filled the structured report for you should be not your brother or your uncle, should be your father, because it needs that heart and mind to fill a good structured report. So please be careful of whom you choose for this one and how he will do it. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Munir. I already added some tips from that you said to me since I came here. If you do remember, you added to me some tips, and Dr. Namera added some tips for me, which was, to be honest, useful, guiding me to go through this journey. Regarding from recent to start with the most recent, I agree with you, which seems to be logic, but it's only mentioned under the section of gaps in employment. Otherwise, they didn't mention this through the guidance in the GMC website, unless I'm missing something. So, but I agree with you. Recent.
It is mentioned in the GMC guidance on writing CV.
Yeah, I'm in front of this now, so it's just it's written in one section under gaps in employment in your CV. Otherwise, they didn't advise for this, but I agree with you. This is the logic thing to be done.
So thank you so much, Dr. Munir, for that. The other question is about JAG. They say there is no summative DOPS template for PEG insertion. So how can they prove that?
I think it will be the same DOPS for OGD, and you will choose this. It's not specific DOPS for PEG, but you will choose from while you are doing the DOPS, you will choose one for PEG tube insertion, and you will mention this in the case summary.
I think that's right. Yeah, that makes sense. So there is another question which is a little bit unclear for me, so needs a little bit more clarification. It says, so we will need to print some evidence and signed off by the CD, then scanned and upload electronically. I'm not quite sure what, Serena, what do you mean by some evidence? What exactly are you referring to?
Is muted. I'll give her mic. Hi, Serena.
Okay, just meanwhile, there is another question.
Hello,
saying,
can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Right. So regarding letters from clinics, yeah. So I need to print it out, give it to CD to ratify them, yeah, that are anonymized, scan them and put it in the electronically. So all the evidence are provided electronically. Am I correct? To GMC.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah. So this is a good question. You need to print the selected clinic letters. Then there is no need to ask your clinical director to sign it for you, okay? Because it's already approved under the consultant that supervises you in the clinic, okay? And then you will anonymize it using the redaction tool from PDF editor. Then you will put this under one category or one subspecialty in gastroenterology. For example, it's liver clinic. You will put this under liver clinic. And then you will combine the evidence, or you combine the letters from liver clinic together at the end. And then you will combine letters from different specialties together. Before this, you scan everything and you keep the electronic copy. And then you will combine it and upload the combined letters together under appropriate section in the GMC application. The GMC will not ask you to send any hard copies apart from, I think, they will send you an email after submission that they will need some documents to be hard copy. This is usually copies from or authenticated qualification. Otherwise, they will not ask you to send hard copies for clinic letters or everything.
So I don't need to print all these letters and everything. So if
Yeah,
I save
but
them
I would
electronically,
advise,
will be okay.
yeah, but I would advise you to keep the hard copies with you till you have the outcome for your application, not to
Thank you
throw
very
it.
much. Thank you.
Dr. Munir wanted to comment. Dr. Munir?
Mike, with you, Dr.
Yes,
Munir.
it's just one thing what Dr. Serena said. You don't need even to print these things because it can be anonymized while it is still electronic if you have the PDF editor, and then add it to your folder and upload it. So you don't need even to print it. And my advice to all is in each hospital, there is one of the new big photocopier machines that can scan, upload, do everything. Familiarize yourself with this one and make sure you have access because you will need it frequently. And the other thing is, whatever evidence you get, as Dr. Talhan said at the beginning, start your application. They can never see it at the GNC unless you click submit, and you will not do that unless you pay the money. So this step, nobody can see what you are putting. Even you put any nonsense, nobody can look at it except you. So start uploading every day. Every day, whatever evidence you get, if you have the system, the application mapped nicely in your mind, then every day upload it, because if you leave it to the end, it will be heavy and things will get more complex, and you might, I mean, you will feel the burden of the thing. But if you do it on daily basis, that will be far easier. And it's a big job in management doing that application. Even one of the colleagues has put an evidence of management training that putting an application for CESR. So it's a sort of management, how you manage the project, how you run it from the beginning. It's a very important thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Munir. I agree with you. But the problem with the uploading evidence every day, so for example, if she did a clinic today and she want to upload a letter, she can upload it just to keep a copy there. But you need to combine your evidence and to organize your evidence. If you need to upload it and then you can download it from there, that's fine. But I mean, not all evidence can be uploaded on daily basis. But you can start uploading the certificates, uh, for example, ALS certificate, the exam certificate, previous experience, previous employment letters. All of this can be uploaded as soon as you have it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. So there is another question regarding MDTs. Is it mandatory to head the MDT or just contribution in the discussion is enough?
Again, it will be of more weight if you are chairing the MDT, if you organize it, and it will be good if you chairing and contributing to if you are joining or contributing to the MDT, but it will be of more weight if you are chairing this and you have an evidence of chairing this. But it will be slightly difficult, for example, for the registrar level. So I don't think they will share the MDT. So it will be slightly difficult. So if you can have an evidence that you are contributing regularly, or you are able to organize the MDT, I think this will be a good evidence that you are aware of the importance of MDT. What we need to prove here is the importance of MDT in your work.
Dr.
Munir.
Yes, about the MDTs, I think it will be little difficult to find somebody who is not in the specialist register to be a chair of some MDT unless really a small hospital, a small specialty. However, if this is achievable to be a chair of MDT, that's fine, but usually it is not the case. What matters is you get the MDT outcomes with your name as attendant. I have one of the MDTs in my hospital that doesn't they don't put in the outcome the name of the attendance. I was editing it and putting all the names of the attendants to prove that I'm there. That's important. It's difficult to get a proof that you got engaged. So with all the MDTs you got, for example, Upper GI, get a covering letter from the lead of that MDT of your contribution and engagement and working on outcomes or facilitating additions. And so there must be a covering letter, because the outcomes and your name there is just a dead evidence. What will give it life is a covering letter from the chair or the lead of that MDT elaborating, and you better write it yourself, make it the way you like to tell your assessor, and then the chair of the MDT will sign. Thank you.
That
Thanks,
is
Dr.
really,
Munir.
really helpful. Thank you so much, Dr. Munir. I think there is another question being typed at the moment. Okay. Can you please share your organized files? Would like to know how to start organizing. I think she's referring to, or the Shiram is referring to your one of your first slides, Dr. Talkan, when you had all the folders just below each other, when you were like, organizing.
So
the
I can
evidence
share it,
folders.
but this is I applied through the old version of Portfolio Pathway. So I can share both for you. Give me just a second. Sorry. Or if you want the slide initially. This is the one. And I will show you the one for my application, for my actual application. This was the old version of my application. So these were the documents that I needed. But I did submit through the old pathway. So the new domains in the new application are those CIP 1, 2, 3. Just you need to put folders based on the subdivisions in the GMC application, online application.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Dr. Talkan. So another question, actually, that's from me, basically. So from your experience, I think we have few consultants in the attendance who managed to have their CESR application done and already approved. So congratulations. What is the time frame since you started not just thinking, but actually taking steps and collecting evidence and then thinking about the next step? So what was the time frame since you started collecting evidence until you had the final approval? Or let's be more realistic, until you submitted your application? And I totally understand and appreciate it might be difficult at the moment to be the same with the dual accreditation. So if you have any advice about that or any ideas about that, I think that's going to be helpful. Thank you.
So my own experience, I think this question may be variable between all of us. Not all of us have the same circumstances, either at work or family-wise. So my experience, I started here November 2022. I made my decision from the first week that I will go through the CESR pathway. I will not be able to go do the training. So then I submitted my application in September 2024. And I was allocated to advisor. I do remember this day. It was 20 of November 2024. And we did some audits. And finally, my application went for Royal College 3rd of March 2025. and I got the decision November 2025. So Dr. Namira want to say something?
Yes, Dr. Ayman, please
Yes,
go ahead.
that's a good question, Iman. I agree with Muhammad. So everyone circumstances completely different. I'm aware or know some colleagues who finished it in 1 year. They have already this evidence, and other colleagues maybe it takes longer for them. So it's completely variable. One just advice, which Dr. Munir told me, open the application first in the GMC. Just open it. Know what are you looking for. Look at the algorithm or the requirements, and usually if you are focused, the evidence can be collected within 6 months. That's my beliefs. If you work if you are not a new gastroenterologist, I mean, if you have some experience, all evidence can be collected in 6 months if you are focused. I mean, and the circumstances are well. For example, you are working in a big hospital which have the subspecialties. You can get all the requirements from this hospital. The other advice is the guidance on the GMC guidance for the portfolio pathway is a guidance, and it's not strictly rules. There is definitely minimum requirements, but if you go too much into the details, you will not finish. So if you because the CESR is collecting data is endless. You can keep collecting data till the rest of your life. So try to be focused. Don't go too much into the details. I mean, don't be sophisticated and asking too many detailed questions. Just focus, collect the minimum evidence, submit your application. The advisor might get back to you asking for more evidence. It will be much easier. So we have now some guidance from the advisors. What are you exactly missing, rather than like collecting evidence from everywhere. So that's the main advice. Just open the application, organize yourself, and try to submit your application as soon as possible, because it's endless process. If you keep on the details, you will get lost, I'm afraid.
Thank you so much,
That's
Dr.
true.
Ayman. That's really reassuring, to be honest. Dr. Munir?
Yes, I agree with Ayman in one thing, that it can take you the rest of your career improving your application, and it will get better and better. And if you wait for another year, it will even become, definitely, it is rewarding. The more you wait, the more the application will improve, but that's endless. Stick to the basics, the core components of the application, and submit it. Then there is a job for your advisor to come back with the things that you need to add. That's one thing. This is actually the function of your mentor. Try to take a mentor, because he will be the one to stop you. You will always have the desire to improve your application, but the mentor can tell you, no, that's enough here. Stop that at this point. Go and apply. So having a mentor is a very good thing, and you cannot achieve perfection in that application, because it will take you the whole career. So once you fulfill the core components, send it. And rest assured that at the GMC side, they don't hesitate to return and say, and this happened really to one of the people I know, they returned and they said, there is zero chance that this application will pass. We recommend that you withdraw it. And the guy did, and then applied again after 1 year. So I mean, the advisor will come to you with all the defects which you can fulfill. But trying to fulfill it on your side, that will be endless. So the core components, put the application, and then wait for the feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munir. That's really helpful. So I think that's one last question. Is rota making mandatory? I think she means like rota management, or to be like organizing the rota for registrars or whatever. So is it mandatory?
I think it's not mandatory. It is just, it will give you a good management
Leadership.
task, leadership
Yeah.
or management tasks. So This is a good thing that you can add, but it's not mandatory. If you have any management tasks that if you have anything else that prove that you are involved in management or leadership tasks, I think that's enough.
That makes sense. So we don't have any further questions in the chat box. So
I have a
before
question.
you, of course, to yourself.
No,
Of course, to the others. Please
I
go
will
ahead.
ask you, Iman, and Dr. Namir, and Dr. Munir, and Dr. Mustafa, if anyone choosing between training and CESR or portfolio pathway, how they can, what's your advice so to help them to make their decision?
I think I will start because I'm the most junior. I will
Okay.
just say that, I mean, it depends again on your personal circumstances. So me, when I came like more than 5 years ago in the UK, my plan was never to stay. And I think that wasn't right. At the time, if I was to think whether I would go for the portfolio pathway or training, even though I've had my training in Egypt, I had my master's, I was working on my PhD, I think at the time I would have chose training because it's a secure pathway. It's 5 years, you know, at the end that you're going to be a consultant. But for me personally, that changed because of some personal related issues like marriage and other stuff. It's quite difficult. So I think CESR pathway is the option I'm going through now. But I know deep inside that training is a structured pathway. You are not only self-motivated because you have to follow the system. The CESR pathway needs a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of self-motivating, a lot of self-pushing. So I think it depends on your circumstances. But the earlier in your career, the training is better option. That's what I think personally. And then over to my senior colleagues. Dr. Munir?
Well, that's a very good question, but the answer will be almost always or always personalized, depending on, as Iman said, personal circumstances, how competitive the application, because you cannot keep waiting for 3 or 4 years waiting for a training number while you could have finished your CESR during that time. And I think basically, and this is whenever I sit with a group of people to talk about CESR, I tell them, anybody younger than 35 years of age, just get out. You are at the wrong place. And if I am at this opening that session, I would say that to everybody. If you are younger than 35, you are at the wrong place. Get out and keep applying for application for the training number. Even if you get it in 2 or 3 years' time, you are still young at that point. If you are from 35 to 40, we can look at circumstances, because I have talked to some colleagues before. They have difficulties with visa, and this is a very critical thing because they cannot stay in the country if the visa is not valid. And some others have family circumstances that doesn't allow them to go for training and keep roaming around in the region they applied for, and so on. So between 35 and 40, we can look at personal circumstances. Anybody above 40, definitely it's difficult to take the training. Then get the fruits of the training, because he will finish the training in 7 years, become a consultant at 48 years. How many years he will spend and enjoy the consultant career, if it is enjoyable at all. So I think I will start by age. If you are less than 35, you are at the wrong place here. If you are between 35 and 40, you can look at your own personal circumstances. If you are above 40, then it is CESR for you. Thank you.
Dr. Munir, I started here when I was 34. Don't forget this.
You're only 1 year away from the gray zone, Mohammed. Now we are all in the gray zone. Okay, so Dr. Namira, please go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick comment. So it's completely personalized, I do agree. But with the new regulations about the training for IMGs will be very difficult. So I believe the choice might now be straightforward. So if you are in IMG, so the training pathway could be very challenging to apply for with the new regulation. So we have to consider CESR. But generally, it's completely personalized. My impression is if you are a fully competent consultant before coming to the UK, so the CESR pathway will be much applicable. If you are not a competent consultant or independent gastroenterologist, I believe the training will be more sensible. There's another question from Dr. Islam. I believe that's important too, about the general medicine evidence.
I cannot see this
Dr.
question.
Islam asking advice for collecting GIM evidence while being in the UK as a gastroenterology locum consultant. So I assume he is fully focused on gastroenterology. So the question is, how can he gather GIM-related competency and evidence at the same time?
So I do think this will depend on the place you are working in. So you need to be focused on building communication and a good relationship with the GIM acute medicine team. And after a while, you can ask them to be involved with. You can have this. You can go, for example, and attend their ward rounds. With time, I think you will, if they are trusting you, so they will be able to sign these forms for you under with observation, and but it will not come in few weeks. It will take time, especially if you are new to the country. So it will take time to build this trusted communication or trusted relations. But you can start to contact them and to build good relations with them.
Brilliant. So I want to ask a question, Dr. Talkan, as well, if it's possible. So when you apply for the portfolio pathway and you submit your application, you have, let's say, hopefully all the evidence needed. At the time of the decision, does it make any difference if you have been applying as a registrar, specialty doctor, or as a locum consultant? Because I believe as a consultant, you're already showing a lot of independent work. So if as a registrar or a specialty doctor, you give evidence saying that you are independent in this and this and this, but still I don't think it's anywhere near being an actual consultant as a job plan. So would it make any difference way-wise to the application or the success rate?
Dr. Munir want to answer this question.
Yes, definitely it will bear more weight for people who apply as locum consultant rather than the same application came from a registrar. Because when you apply as a locum consultant, it means that the people you are working with have among themselves agreed that you can work as a consultant with them. So that carries a hidden certificate that you work up to the standard of a consultant. While this is missing if you apply as a registrar. And as we all know, there are many registrars who are really as equivalent as to any consultant, but they don't hold the title. They don't have the password that a locum consultant. While if you have that password, I am, as an assessor, I look at it and say, yes, there is like 10 or 8 consultants in the team agreed that this guy can work as a consultant. So I will give it a heavier weight. I think this is the case.
So thank you so much, Dr. Munir. I just want to say that I have always been under this impression, and I've always been feeling like you will always have a better chance of success if you are a consultant than a specialty doctor or a registrar. That being said, I've attended a CESR lecture recently, like a meeting basically, and we had the CESR lead in the trust, Dr. Mawish Nadim, and she said something really, really promising that I wanted to share just to give some optimism to my colleagues who are on the same level as myself as a specialty doctor, that basically the CESR or the portfolio pathway wants to make sure that you have all the equivalent evidence to an ST8 or ST7, whatever, in the specialty, like a trainee who is about to be a consultant. So this trainee is not actually a consultant yet, okay? So you don't have to be a consultant. And that's why there is nothing mentioned whatsoever on the GMC website for the portfolio pathway about being a consultant.
Yes,
You just
that's
need to
correct.
give the evidence that is highly, highly confirming that you bear all the qualifications, all the competences that another trainee in his last year has, and you can be a consultant. The more the better, the more the good, but it doesn't mean that it will make your application any weaker. I only wanted to share that because I was always disheartened and I was always like feeling very discouraged about it. And that being said from Dr. Nadim, who is the CESR lead in the trust, was very, very, very promising. So that's what I wanted to share. Talkan, you want to say something?
Just to be optimistic, I know personally 2 gastro registrars over the UK recently, within the last year, who got their CESR approved even before my decision. And they have been working in the UK for the same period. They started with in the same year. So yes, there is no obligation to be locum consultant, and I do think if you organize your evidence in a good way, it will weigh the same as a locum consultant, but it may need further effort or more effort to prove that you are competent enough. I think this is what Dr. Munir was trying to say. Dr. Munir, want to say something?
Yeah, I think myself, in order of speaking, myself, Iman, and you are saying the same thing in different words. Of course, not everyone who applies is a local consultant. Majority will be registrars and specialty doctors. But I'm talking about the weight. You are adding extra weight. Like if you tell me, can I submit 10 DOPs? If you submit 15 is better. If you submit 20 is better. And that's why I told some of the colleagues that who were about to apply, I say, wait till you get the consultant job, which is coming soon, and then apply it from there. So that's your current post. Of course, if you apply as a registrar, it doesn't make your chances less. But if you apply as consultant, it makes your chances higher. So I think we all said the same thing. Thank you.
Yeah. Another question, I'll go back to the question that I asked to you about CESR or training. I agree with Dr. Namera that the current circumstances about training become more difficult. So what I would suggest, I would say this is now the decision to go for CESR or training is dynamic. So you can start gathering evidence, which will be, if you upload this to your e-portfolio, or if this is in your e-portfolio, you can benefit from this. Either you apply for a specialty training, it will wait in your application for a specialty training, and also it will be of benefit if you are going for CESR. So start to collect your evidence. It will benefit anywhere. Okay, so it's a dynamic decision. You may change your mind after a few months. So it's gathering evidence is not a waste of time. That's what I need to say.
That's a really good point. One more question from my side as well. So now that it was a very good point, Dr. Namir, actually, about the new updates about the IMGs and the priority for training numbers. So we can never predict, we cannot read the future. But my question is, do you think, of course, the ones who have their CESR, like, approved, Dr. Namira, Dr. Tarkan, Dr. Munir, and if any other one on the audience already had it done, do you think it will be more difficult for the portfolio pathway in the coming couple of years to be accepted? Will we have more challenges, more restrictions? What do you think the forecast of the whole, procedure and pathway will be?
Dr. Namira.
Dr. Munir raised his hand. Please go ahead.
So, as you can see in the news, if you are a fan of the BBC, there is a tendency towards restricting chances for all the immigrants to work everywhere. So one of them is related to the medical field. And if they can, and they have adequate numbers of locally graduates who can fill all the jobs, they will restrict it fully to the native people or to the local graduates of any nationalities. But this is not possible now. So long there is a demand, there will be facilitation to get into the register, and that demand is there. But if you look at things, 10 years ago, it was easy to come from abroad as a local consultant at some ease. Now it is not as easy. So the road is getting narrower, but it's still open and it allows people. So I believe this should not reflect on the application. If you submit a good application, you will get it. The challenge after that will be in getting a job. And that's not for the GMC or the Royal College also, that's in the market. But I mean, in terms of application, put a good application, you get accepted. Then finding a job, that's a different thing. Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
Dr.
thank you, Dr. Munir. There is a question about the numbers needed. This slide summarizes the numbers needed, minimum numbers of each of SLEs need in GIM and gastroenterology. Okay, I think you may join late. And Dr. Mustafa also have sent a link. I'm not sure. I cannot open this link. Dr. Namira want to say something?
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead, Doctor.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted, this is the link about the change of position, which is on the GMC website. It's really good to read it because it reminds you about what they need in terms of the evidence, and that it needs to be aligned with the main criteria, not about just ticking the box, that you need to do everything mentioned in the curriculum. Basically, again, because we asked this question clearly, they want to be sure you can be working as a consultant. So going back to the question about the PEG, if you don't have the DOPS, just your training endoscopy lead can write a letter what you are doing. So remember not to complicate it, as you all mentioned. Thank you.
But I mean, Dr. Mustafa, if you have the facility to do this in the right way, or not the right way, the most appropriate way to prove this capability, I think it will be of more weight in your application. There are other ways to prove your capabilities again, but I mean, if you can do this in a formal way, this will be better.
Definitely, I fully agree. I'm just saying, because we have seen many examples like this. You have somebody who is a specialty doctor, started to be a locum locally, and he is running the GI bleeding route, and sometimes you may find an assessor saying, okay, he hasn't had the JAG course, and hence the debates. And you can add this to a lot of things, like the question about the acute general medicine. Yes, there is criteria you have to fulfill, like ADOPS for aesthetic tabbing, but still it's the structured report extremely important. What is mentioned, and whenever you have a chance to get a recommendation letter or from any of your colleagues, or if you are a consultant or any of your supervisor, it really makes difference when there is a debate during the assessment. Okay. I mean, for example, the nutrition, we have seen this multiple times. We have seen people who hasn't been to a tertiary care center, but has been attending an MDTs and attending and proving that they have some clinics in nutrition, and they have it accepted, while others, they mentioned to them, you have to go for a tertiary care center. So I fully agree with what you mentioned. The only thing I wanted to say is, whatever you can support your evidence in a very comprehensive way, please do this. It can help.
Thanks, Dr. Mustafa.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mustafa. So one last question, because I think we need to call it a day. So there is a question about the logbook. Someone said, I forgot to ask about the logbook. What is the detailed like way, and what they how detailed they need to be in their logbook?
It depends logbook about what?
So it's not quite clear, to be honest. What I can say
If logbook about training, I think if you have a draft of logbook, for example, my training was in University Hospital back in Egypt. We have a logbook for master degree and logbook for PhD, which including clinical training syllables. So I use this, the what's called the blank form, not the blank form, yeah. And then I attach to this one is a letter from the supervisor that I completed all the competences indicated in this book. One for my master degree, which equivalent to basic training, and then the advanced training in gastroenterology, one for PhD. If you are asking about logbook for endoscopy, there is no instructions on the GMC website about this, but you can draft any logbook, and the most important is it need to be signed by supervisor or clinical director of the place that you have been trained in. Dr. Munir, want to say something?
Yes, regarding the logbooks for endoscopy, whatever, it depends on the software you are using in your trust. All of them are able to generate a logbook by name, and depending on what fields you want, they will put you even the diagnosis, even the interventions you did, and that can be generated in a minute for as long backwards as you like. So all softwares will do that. Just try to find out how in your software, and you should be able to get each and everything you did with all the details that you want.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That I was referring to the logbooks from outside the UK.
Yeah, just to the point before that about doing things the formal way, getting the courses, this is not our topic now, but at a point you will finish, you will become a consultant, you will try to do some private job. All private companies, the first thing they will ask you, where is your JAG certificate? Are you JAG certified in colonoscopy, JAG certified in gastroscopy? So you will need to present these things at a certain point later, not for the purpose of CESR, but for the purpose of other work. So I would support that you do things the right way, the formal way, so you can have a solid evidence of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munir. So the last thing is someone asked about a good nutrition course, and I think I can answer this question because based on all the suggestions and advice, the Leeds nutrition course is quite good. I will leave a link on the chat, and I think we need to come and end, but Dr. Namira wants to say something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick advice about asking too many detailed questions. So that GMC criteria is a guideline. So whatever nutrition course you had, even outside the UK, as long as you have done it, would be accepted most of the time. So any JAG, equivalent JAG certificates or logbook or whatever courses, basic OGD course, for example, it's not necessary to do it through JAG. If you had it in your country or whatever outside, and it seems to be sensible and the equivalent to the JAG, it will be accepted. So don't harden on yourself and make it easy. As long as it ticks the box, I think it will be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Namira. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Talkan, for the informative and amazing and practical session. Thank you, Dr. Namira, Dr. Munir, Dr. Mustafa, and everyone else who contributed to the discussion. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and for the great questions and answers. Hopefully that was clear. We hope the session has been helpful, clarifying the portfolio pathway. Just a reminder for you all again, the session has been recorded and it will be shared. So please don't be bothered if something was missed. You can always go back to it. Thank you all and have a lovely day.
Thank you, Iman. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.